Bournemouth bound for Champions League football. That's going to be the title of this video here. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Players Only YouTube channel. And boy, oh boy, what a game last night. I was supposed to live stream it. Didn't quite work out in the end, but I was eyes fixed on this game here. Nottingham Forest, probably the informed team of the competition versus the second best team of the competition in terms of form, Bournemouth. And what a game it was. 5-0. Bournemouth won at home. Another statement victory. Another massive win against one of the big boys at home. They are the giant killers at the Vitality Stadium this season, and it was a complete performance from minute one for Andoni Iraola's side. And it's become a bit of a joke here in the channel. It's become the Bournemouth fan channel. I'm constantly talking about this guy, but the respect is still not there. Last time I'm saying a little bit of it, but you got to look at what this man has done with this Bournemouth side, what this side is doing, and how if they can stay together maybe for another season or two, they're on to some great things here. And we know in football, you look at Bologna, you look at Girona last season, these great good field stories often fall apart. But right now for me, Andoni Iraola, manager of the season for me in the Premier League, we were debating it last week on the podcast, but he's gone and beaten probably candidate 1A in Nuno Espirito Santo, and he's played him off the park. We know Nottingham Forest likes to play on the counter-attack. We know they like to play with pace in behind, and they have a certain pace they like to control in the game. What Bournemouth did was offset that. They allowed Forest a little bit more of the football. They equally as well broke against them. They transitioned against Nottingham Forest to a better extent. And what they did well was manage the moments. I said a lot in different videos, but managing key moments is a sign of a winning team. There was moments where they were not in control of the game, where Forest had those little spurts in the game. But what they did well is they rode them. Kepa Arrizabalaga, a solid game in goal. I think it was 5 or 6 saves in the end from Kepa in net. Back four, as always, nice and compact. Made it very difficult for Chris Wood. Barely got a touch of the football. Tayo Wanyu comes on, not much involvement either. Morgan Gibbs-White, quiet. I'll talk about some individual battles which they won, but all over the park, every player fulfilled their role. And you look and they often pan to it in the game last night. You've got 6, 8, first teamers missing. Enesu now out. Evanilson out. 2 starting strikers not there. Dango Ouattara comes in. He's had a good run of games now. Hat-trick. Bournemouth have 2 different players with hat-tricks this season. They're flying at one of the, in terms of goals-wise, there's goals in the game now as well. But what Iraola implemented from the start of last season was this ability to grind out games. It's in a fashionable way of football, counter-pressing, high up the pitch, high intensity, which definitely offset Nottingham Forest in this game here. But there was missing that final link, which is a lot of goals in their game. I'll get into a stat later on, but they have been finding the back of the net at will and ease in recent games. And that, for me, is the final tick in this sort of like cycle of what Andoni Iraola was implementing. It was firstly the mentality to go at teams, not be fearful. If it's United, if it's Chelsea, if it's City, or if it's Luton Town. It was always a willingness to take the game on, get at oppositions, and press them from the front. It was a real front forward, Dominic Solanke, Antoine Semenyo, you lead from the front, we'll all follow from there. Then we saw this ball playing that was a part of the game towards the end of last season, start of this season as well. Ryan Christie in there, Lewis Cook doing a fantastic job in there. We know how Tyler Adams has come in there and done a fantastic job as well. They added that ball playing part to the game. And then what we've seen, I guess, in this final iteration of this side, we know how good the back four's been. That's been a constant development and improvement. Iyaz Arbani, for me, fantastic, underrated, superb in that back four. Dean Huijsen comes in this season, does a fantastic job. So we know that story. But what we've seen in recently, in particular without any striker there, is the ability to find the back of the net. 5 goals in this game, 4 goals in the previous game. 2 of the top sides in the league, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest. 2 of the hardest challenges, probably the most 2 informed sides. And you've gone and slapped 9 goals past them and done it quite easily. So that is the final iteration. I feel like the attacking football is flowing. There's pace, there's precision, and there's ability to either break or build up, slow build up play and pass their way around the back four there. And again, against the 2 best centre backs, in terms of form wise in the competition. So fantastic yet again for Andoni Iraola's side. I'll quickly run through the game. Obviously, quick start. Anthony Elanga was getting in behind the first 20 seconds. He put his shot into the side netting. But what Bournemouth did well was they absorbed a little bit of that early pressure. It was a bit of a pinball affair in the middle of the park, but then they broke away. A great break. Justin Kluivert leading the way, and he just ran from the halfway line. No Nottingham Forest player really went to close him down, and then with a finish very similar to the way he completed his hat-trick last week, found the back of the net in the 9th minute. Once again, another outside of the box shot, finding the back of the net. So it was 1-0 in the 9th minute. From there on in, it was a back and forth type game, especially in the first half. Nottingham Forest had their chances. Kepper needed to make a save in the 10th minute. Morgan gives White probably his best move of the game. He shot narrowly wide in the 12th minute after Anthony Alanga headed the ball down to him just on the edge of the area. Whipped that shot, fizzed it in nice and low, but went just past the goal in the 12th minute. From there on, though, probably the back half of the first half is when Bournemouth got back in control of the game. Ryan Christie in the 20th minute ran to the edge of the box and powered a shot straight at Matt Sells. Unfortunately, Sells once again a massive save in the 26th minute to turn to help keep the game at 1-0 with Anton Semenyo on the turn and shooting low, but Sells in the way yet again. And then we looked at the second half, and that's when the games had turned around. A good start, Milenkovic heading towards goal at the start of the first half, but the big one came in the 55th minute. Dango Utara making it 2-0. Kluivert standing up across towards the back post, and with Murillo under him, Dango Utara just jumped over the top of Murillo to head home into the far corner. Fantastic header. Looked like a salmon out of water rising up to head that ball home. Massive leap, massive finish, filling in that striker role very, very well. So 2-0 and a deserved 2-0 lead in the 55th minute. Once again, we thought we saw another great goal from Kluivert in the 58th minute. Little 1-2 give and go, but he was deemed offside, Dango Utara, in the build-up. So it was not 3-0. VAR overturned that goal. Remained 2-0 as we went towards the hour mark, but they wouldn't have to wait much longer, the Bournemouth fans. Dominguez had his pass broken up by Tyler Adams in midfield. He played through Dango Utara, who's coolly and calmly slotted the ball into the bottom corner in the 62nd minute to make it 3-0. That was game wrapped up for me at that point in time. Forest looks slow and sluggish. They couldn't keep up with the pace that Bournemouth were playing with, and it was becoming very overwhelming for the side. From there, it was just grinding out the result towards the end, but then they turned up the pace once again. Utara secured his hat-trick 4-0 in the 87th minute with a parried save from Matt Sells from a Tavernier wicked strike. Utara was the first to react. He put the ball in the back of the net, and then to finish the game off, of course, it had to be Antoine Semenyo. 5-0 in the 90th minute, stood his defender up, coolly, calmly found the bottom corner, rolling that ball into the far corner, and it was game, set, match. 5-0, 5-star performance. Say what you will, but they are flying Bournemouth this current point in time. And for me, Nottingham Forest, quickly on there before we touch back on Bournemouth, an interesting hiccup because so far so good for Nuno Espirito Santo this season. There's been the odd poor result, but even when they've drawn games of football, you thought, oh, they could have won that game. This was probably their worst performance of the season. Ryan Yates overrun in midfield. Dominguez came in and looked even worse. The middle of the park looked really sluggish. Elliot Anderson wasn't able to do his thing where he dictates the pace of the game. He picks the ball up, drives into spaces, controls possession. Wasn't able to do that. Murillo and Milenkovic were under too much pressure with the pace of the Bournemouth front line. And for me, the big problem was Morgan Gibbs White and Chris Wood couldn't quite get involved in the game. Wasn't enough touches in dangerous areas. Wasn't getting into dangerous spots. And one, that's on Dean Hoyson as well as Ilaz Arbani being fantastic. But you got to find a way to potentially drop in, especially if Morgan Gibbs White, drop in a bit deeper in the midfield, get a few touches of the football, get involved in the game instead of just going missing in different periods of the time. So I think it's a bit of a worry, that part, how they both really faded out of the game. Good teams with good players, they'll find a way to get back involved. Even if they do get beaten 3-0, they'll look dangerous at different points in time. I just think they just faded out in different moments too much for me. Yes, the stats show an even battle, but Bournemouth just dominated that area, winning those sort of individual battles, and it showed, obviously, in the 5-0 result in the end. Quickly with a few stats here. It was a 1.7 XG for Bournemouth. Absolutely killed their XG in the end. 3 big chances created, again, once again showing they made the most and not a lot in terms of going forward. It was 12 games now unbeaten for them, 8 wins in that stretch. They stay 7th. However, they go 1 point off 4th place, which shows where we're currently at this current point in time. 1 point off the top 4, which we know the top 5 will likely be Champions League football. So Bournemouth are absolutely knocking on Champions League football for next season. It's 17 goals in their last 5 matches without any striker at all. No NSNL, no Evanilson, no one up top. Dango Utara has gone up top, a makeshift player, a player that fills in a lot of the time. Had a great run of games, showing it now with a hat-trick. Bournemouth now with 2 separate players with hat-tricks, 3 hat-tricks in the season. Like, goals we're seeing, I said at the start of the video, we're seeing that come a part of Antonio Ariola's system and his players' game, which is a great sign to see. Key players, 3 key players, and obviously Dango Utara, the 9.5 SOFA score match rating, the 3 goals, 37 touches, 81% pass accuracy. I think the thing for me last week and this week, it's the unselfish work he does though. Yes, he gets 3 goals today, but the run and the pressure he puts in those back lines, often unrewarded, but he's an energizer. And it reminds you a lot of Dominic Solanke towards the middle and back end of last season when Bournemouth were making that great run of form. Dom Solanke was leading the line in terms of not only scoring goals, but pressing from the front. Energy, pressure. Centre-backs at the touch, you're on them. Right-backs, the ball out to the right-back, we go together. Semenyo and Solanke go together. It was the same sort of deal yesterday with Dango Ouattara goes, so does Antoine Semenyo, so does Justin Cliver. Everyone's pushing and pressing together, and it just makes it difficult for teams to play out. It makes it difficult for teams, if they win the ball back, like Nottingham Forest, to play counter-attacking football because Bournemouth lose the ball and they press straight away. They are one of the best, I think the best counter-pressing teams in the competition. You do not get a second to breathe, especially defenders and deep line midfielders. Those are where they definitely press heavy. When you get past that area, then they drop into that more structures of 4-4-2 type shape. But when the ball's in those in the opposition back third there, they're on them. They're on them quick. They're on them very, very fast. And it is one touch and they're there. And Dango Ouattara does a great job of that. Obviously, the finishes yesterday were fantastic. That header, for me, one of the best headers I've seen in a long, long time. The way he rose above Murillo and then still cushioned that header into the far side netting was just superb. 3 fantastically deserved goals. A deserved hat-trick for some of the work he's done, whether it be off the bench this season or on this recent run starting. Second player has to be Justin Cliver. 8.4 match rating, a goal, an assist, 44 touches, 100% pass accuracy. One of the 3 big chances created. 4 to 6 successful dribbles in this game here. Did it all. And I often thought, will it be Tavernier or Clive that ends up in that sort of number 10 hole? Clive's made his own. And when you think about, do they go sign someone for that spot? There's no need to. I know at the start of the season, the Emil Smith Road chat, would he go to an AFC Bournemouth? But what a decision to keep Justin Clive in that number 10 role. The way he just commands that space, picks up the ball, like we saw that first goal, picks up the ball in a dangerous spot. And because you got the runners around him, he's able to drive into spaces. He's got an absolutely wicked shot when he had space and time, which you've seen the last few weeks. 4 goals now in 2 games, and the assist was fantastic as well to find Dango Ouattara. It is just overall a really complete football this current point in time. He's playing with freedom, he's playing with confidence, and he's showing his skill set. A player that seemed like he came to Bournemouth because he'd wasted his talent. He's come to Bournemouth and shown his talent and shown his capability on the ball, off the ball pressing. Again, not very physical, but stood up to the task yesterday with Elliot Anderson and Ryan Yates and Dominguez in and around him. He did a good job to keep the ball at his feet. The pass accuracy for me was a big stat yesterday, 100% pass accuracy. Didn't have the exact amount of passes he made and completed, but took the game on a lot of periods of time and made it happen. So fantastic game again for Clive. Probably a great 2 months for him. And then finally, Tyler Adams. Like I said it last week, a player that I didn't really know where he was going to land in terms of I always see Cook and Christie as the best Bournemouth combination in midfield. He missed basically all of last year with injuries, started this year off a bit sluggish and slow, but he's got that fitness under his belt once again. He's looking like that Tyler Adams we saw at Leeds, where he's just flying into challenges, winning the ball. Was awesome on Bruno Guimaraes last week. Owned that midfield battle this week. Was the aggressor, the physical player in there, and allows a bit more freedom for Ryan Christie as well. So in a way, it probably does work as a 2. Lewis Cook might have to find his way back into the side in a different position because 8.2 match rating, got the 2 assists in this game here. Obviously set up that second goal for Dango Ouattara where he wins the ball off Dominguez, whose pass was very poor. Then great ball, great weighting of pass in behind for Dango Ouattara to go and score that goal. That for me was Adams at his best. We saw him assist last week for the 3rd goal for Clivert as well. Wins that ball back, lays the ball across to Clivert. So he's been involved in a lot of attacking movements as well. And he's the leader of that energising, pressing, intensity style of football and that Andoni Iriol likes to implement. So he was fantastic again. 45 touches, 85% pass accuracy, won 7 out of 10 duels, 3 clearances, 2 tackles, 2 interceptions and 5 tackles. Like he's absolutely stacks it up in the stat sheet there with so many different, areas hit. He does a bit of everything. And I guess this is why he came for that very big money move to Bournemouth last season. We didn't get to see it. I was a bit questionable of what he could bring. I didn't think this was the player they're going to get. But this is the Tyler Adams that, again, a ceiling Tyler Adams we thought we'd get a few years back. They're getting it to happen now with Andoni Iriol. And fair play to Andoni Iriol for maximising Tyler Adams, a player that, again, is a symbol of what he's done at the club. Someone that's come in injury riddled, problems with his ability on the ball, capability to be in a winning side, and he's contributing to 2 back-to-back wins. But I'd say he's the underrated player of the game. If they don't have 2 hat-tricks from Clive and Dango Ouattara across the last 2 weeks, you probably give both man of the matches to the man himself, Tyler Adams, because the way he commands the middle of the park, the way he's come in post-injury and look like he hasn't missed a beat is just fantastic. And I think, as I said, going forward, that's the combination now. Christie and Adams. Adams, your bruiser. Christie, your smarter player. One-touch football, passing, spreading the game, late runs into the box, where Tyler Adams can be that bruiser. He can protect Dean Hodgson as well as Ilya Zarbani, and be that bulldog in there. Every team has a bulldog. Joel Linton for Newcastle. I always see Ryan Yates for Nottingham Forest being that type of player. Will Hughes for Crystal Palace. Rodri's a very glorified version of it, but yeah, he is still a bulldog. He's aggressive into the tackles. Casemiro 2 years ago at Manchester United when United were flying. That was Casemiro. Every Premier League team and good ones had that bruiser, have that real intense, physical, deep line midfielder. And again, it's a deep line midfielder as well. He can still play. 2 assists in this game. He had an assist last time out. He's all over the park. He's making things happen. But for me, 5 tackles shows it. He won the midfield battle individually because of his physicality and how he offset Ryan Yates. He made Dominguez look second rate, and Elliot Anderson couldn't do his thing where he wanders around the park and just makes things happen. So I think the learning point for the game is that, I guess for people at home, you need to continue to discover this Bournemouth side, because I've been raving about it now for 18, almost 20 months now, about Andoni Iraola's system and Bournemouth. And the fact you've got Ilya Zarbani and Dean Hodgson. You've got Cook and Christie in midfield. Now you've got Tyler Adams in there as well. You've got a great system that accommodates for strikers that press and intensity, that allows players like Semenyo, Clive, at Tavernier to look at their best, because they play with such a high pace, such a high intensity. That's where these players flourish. And fair play to Andoni Iraola for firstly implementing his system, but making sure the players suit the system as well. Every player is overachieving because this system suits their style of football, and you can see it. It's such a great team to watch. As I said, they sit 7th, but 1 point off the top 4. So let me know in the comment section down below, do you think Bournemouth could get Champions League football next season? Because I'm backing them in. I love Andoni Iraola. I think he can do it. But do you guys believe that? In the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on the game? What are your thoughts on Nottingham Forest? Is this the first blip of many blips to come, or is this just one little hurdle and they'll get back on track? Let me know that in the comment section down below. Obviously, Bournemouth play Liverpool next week at the Vitality. That is going to be a massive game. Keep an eye out for that one. Now, you've probably got the 2 most informed teams of Liverpool and Bournemouth facing off next week. So a lot to be excited about for this Bournemouth side. And fair play for the Bournemouth fans. You guys deserve this. Tough few years, up and down in the Premier League, into the Championship. But you found a manager, and you found a system, and you found a team that's going to take you a long, long way. And hopefully, long may it continue, because they're a great side to watch. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash a like on it, subscribe to the Players Zone channel for more videos like these, and press that post notification bell so you know we upload our podcasts and videos here on the channel. With that being said, I hope you have a great day. Enjoy Sunday's football action, and I'll see you guys in the video very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.